I know that it's not Parashat Masa'eh, but the Baal Shem Tov would say that the different Masa'ot, the different journeys and pit stops that are written in the Torah is also a miniature lifetime of a person, that he could go from place to place. And each place where he's at, he has a mission and he has a purpose. So I'm going to speak about a little bit about tonight, about Shalom Nathaniel's purpose. I have very fond memories of my short time that I was over here in this beautiful community. Very happy to see how Rabbi Azulay just brought it up so beautifully. I'm following from far, but I'm noticing, and it's a tremendous zichut to see this beautiful community grow. One thing in particular that happened while I was on this masa, this journey, is that I started a chavruta with my dear friend Nisim Wanunu. We would learn sometimes a couple times a week. We would learn in the Kol Lavreichim. And Nisim and I spoke sometimes about the lost treasures that we had in previous generations that were never printed. And that's when an epiphany came into my mind, and your mind as well. It's so easy nowadays. Not only because Toronto is full of printers. We don't even print the books over here. But it's so easy nowadays to have access to writings that our Chachamim never had the opportunity. And it's an exception to the rule. In Italy, they had printing presses. In Europe, they had printing presses. And we have many, many sfarim and books that line the shelves of the yeshivot, that line the shelves of the kolelim, people who delve into learning, and they're able to access these treasures. But somehow Morocco fell off the map. Recently, I was working on a document from the Bet Din of Fez in the 1920s. Fascinating document. And there they quoted a Sefer Bat Rabim. Never heard of the Sefer before, so I looked into it. It was written by somebody called Rabbi Ben Simchon, not that long ago, 100 years ago. And there was a letter written by a Rav who actually put an effort to print this manuscript. Some of you may know him. His name was Rabbi David Ovadia. I knew him. Maybe he married off some of you. He was a Rav in Sofro. And Rabbi David Ovadia writes how the city of Fez, he's talking about the city of Fez, but we'll see it's true for many of cities. He says, and I'll translate. He says, what a shame. Ifohim, where are all those books? We had so many of the Chachamim, to the hundreds and thousands. You'd expect to see thousands of books that are lining the shelves. Unfortunately, you don't find any of them. Many of them just fell into the pits, into the abyss. They have maybe ash on them. A couple of months ago, I was in Morocco. I went actually to the Bet HaKvarot of Fez. I had to wear this mask. I should have worn a mask to get into there to see all this old Sfarim. They're just lying there. I didn't find manuscripts because I think that they salvaged already. But there was so much that was lost. They were just like lost in a forest full of wolves. And it could be there was no printing presses. The Hachamim were modest. There was hundreds and hundreds of writings. All lost because we didn't have printing presses. So people ask me all the time. I just got a request from Harvard last week, and they wanted a sefer of Chaim Serrero that we put out. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I get today, people heard, literally, I can show you my phone, people heard that the Sefer Shita Ktav Yad on Masechet Yuma came out. People from Muncie started asking, from Lakewood, all over, they want to know where to get the hold of the Sefer. And one Sfarim store asked me, where did you get the books? I told them, they're all available for everybody to find. Actually, this one was found in Oxford University. I didn't have to go to Oxford University. It's found online on the Jewish University website. Maybe if you want the original, you can't get the original, but that's fine. The original is for collectors. I'm interested in publishing and getting it accessible to everyone. This sefer in particularly, a very dear Avrech learning in Beitar approached us, and he said that he knows that we like doing these things, so would we help him put out the sefer? And you'll hear a little bit more about Rabbi Avram ben Moussa. When I heard what treasure it is, I right away jumped on the opportunity, even though I knew it would have more responsibilities, and it's not like I'm exactly bored with what I'm doing in LA, but I couldn't give this up. I'll explain to you who this Rabbi Avram ben Moussa was. Avram ben Moussa lived in the golden era of the Chachamim and the Mekubalim of Marrakesh of the 1600s. There's a very famous sefer on Kabbalah written, Mikdash Melech. I once visited Rav Scheinberg's house. I saw it was on his table. Mikdash Melech was written by Rabbi Shalom Buzaglo, but it was compiled by 4 or 5 of the great Chachamim of Marrakesh at the time. There was Rabbi Yitzchak Diluya, who they say apparently met Marana Bet Yosef one time. They had a meeting. There was Rabbi Avram Azulai, not Avram Azulai, the grandfather, great-grandfather of Chida. Another one was a great Chacham, Rabbi Shlomo Amar. These great Chachamim are all buried in the cemetery of Marrakesh, which is recently restored. It's great Chachamim. Some of them in later generations had writings with the Rashash, who was considered one of the greatest Mekubalim of all time. And Rabbi Avram ben Moussa lived among them in the mid-1600s. In the mid-1600s, he was he wrote a lot. He was actually born in Tetouan. He moved to Saleh, and there actually it was a fertile ground. There was a lot of Mekubalim there that laid the ground for Rav Chaim ben Attar HaZaken, who was the grandfather of the Orach Chaim, Rav Chaim ben Attar, who and he was his Rav. This was the atmosphere then. You can imagine these great Chachamim. The Orach Chaim had in his mind that he's going to leave Morocco to print his Sfarim, and that's why the whole world knows about him. But all of those who stayed behind, nobody knows about them. Actually, I'll tell you, just on a short note. When I was in Morocco, we tried to find the kever of Reb Chaim ben Attar HaZaken. There's one Jew lives in Rabat, another one lives in Saleh. No, not Saleh. 2 Jews live in Rabat, and we asked. That's right next to Saleh. We asked them, "Do you know where he's buried?" They never heard of him. Finally, I found somebody in Israel that knows. He says, "Yes, it's in the cemetery of Saleh, next to Rabbi Lefanan Kawa." But they didn't write the kvarim in those times, so it's one of these lost kvarim that you can't even know. Can you imagine one of the greatest tzaddikim, the Rebbe of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, lost in that cemetery? We made a special hashkava for him, knowing that he was around that area. It's just tremendous hachamim, and their graves are being restored. But what I think we have to work on very hard is trying to revive their Torah back. Rabbi Avram ben Moussa was more well known by the Torah world, Sfaradim and Ashkenazim, because it happened to be there was a famous sefer on Masechet Yoma called Siach Yitzchak, written by an Italian Rav, who somehow had access to these writings, the manuscript of Rav Avram ben Moussa. People think his son brought it over to Italy then, and so people knew about this manuscript, but it was never published. Why? No one knows. They were waiting for somehow, but this is one among a lot of them. This is a very popular sefer, and you're going to have Rabbi Azulai give you shiurim on Masechet Yoma to learn the sefer, to appreciate it. We're learning Masechet Mezuzah in the Kollel, and we were learning the sefer because I had the printouts before it was printed. We had private access, and we spent sometimes days on some of his questions, and it was beautiful to see because we had in our Kollel Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, and they're discussing the Torah of our Chachamim just like they would discuss the Torah of any other Chacham, and it's Torah that was never known, and now it's being revealed. Rav Avram ben Moussa went from Saleh to Marrakesh. That's where he learned and taught a lot of Kabbalah. Then he went to Fez. Unfortunately, there was not a very pleasant story that happened in Fez. I'll tell it to you, even though it's not very pleasant. But there was the governess then. She was very bad to the Jews. She was oppressing them. So Rav Avram ben Moussa said he's going to take care of it in an original manner. He had a sense of humor, and he wrote a kamea that her breath is always going to smell like sewage. We'll leave it at that. That's what it says in the story. Up to a point that she looked for all types of solutions. Finally, she said, maybe the Jews know. When they asked the Jews, Rav Avram ben Moussa, yes, I could solve the issue. As long as she stops oppressing the Jews, I'll solve the issue. He solved the issue, and then people suspected him, kind of true, that it was him who did it, and he had to run away. Why did he run away? This was another hashgacha pratit. He went to Tunisia, and he brought a lot of Torah and Kabbalah, because he was a great Mekubal as well. He brought a lot of Kabbalah to Tunisia. He's buried there till today. When they tried to move his kever, not that long ago, they tried to move it along with his students. So there's a clipping from a newspaper. I have in Tafresh Chav Zayin, which is say less than 100 years ago, when they here's the clipping of the newspaper, they tried to move the kever, the workers would put their axe on it, and they died. I think they kept on dying. It's written over here, Sipur Nifla. They left it alone. No mess. They didn't mess with the kever. There's Rabbi Avram ben Moussa is buried in Tunisia till today, and the train tracks go around. That's where he's buried till today. And what's more important, and this is a tremendous zichut, is that we're able to finally reveal these ktavim. I'm very grateful not only to the Wanunu family, but also to the Avrech who worked very hard on this to make sure it came out. I didn't do so much in this sefer, and it was really zichut of those people who worked on it. But now I want to get to the connection to Shalom Nathaniel. And this is where the story gets really awesome, and many of you have heard of it before, but I'm going to give a few additions to it. And this is where we see how the pieces of the puzzle are there, and sometimes we just have to see them. After that horrible, horrible day that Shalom Nathaniel had that asthma attack, and the horrible news that we got afterwards that he was brain dead, unfortunately, one thing led to the other, that the Canadian government wanted to intervene. And there was a tremendous pushback from the community, a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, that the whole community came together from all stripes of life, which was Shalom Nathaniel's essence, really, of Achdut. And he was the catalyst of bringing them all together. And the judge saw that and he said, hands off. He knew that he was dealing with something much bigger. But there was something much, much bigger. For some reason, it wasn't Shalom Nathaniel's time to leave yet. When was it time to leave? Chaf Aleph Adar, the 21st of Adar. Many of you know that when we were pushing very hard to get the Sefer ready for this date, it was a miracle how it got ready, by the way, on this date. I just FedExed a few of them. The rest are going to come by boat, so unfortunately I don't have enough to give to everyone. Just a select few that participated in the book. B'Bezrat Hashem, when the boat comes, shipping comes, we'll be able to give. You'll be able to have access to the Sefer. But when we found out to try to push the date, we saw that the yortzeit of Shalom Nathaniel and Rav Avram ben Musa's yortzeit is the same day, Chaf Aleph Adar. I told this over to my friend Yoel Gold. He writes stories in Los Angeles. They printed it in the Ami magazine. It's some popular magazine, and they were amazed by such a thing. There's two additions to the story, one less important than the other. That I had a little bit to do with the Sefer. It's my birthday tonight, Chaf Aleph Adar. Yeah, it's okay. I don't need a birthday cake. What's more amazing is what I found out last week. And I have a picture of Shalom Nathaniel's maternal grandfather, Moshe Azuelos. I'm reading from his kever. Ben le'otot tzaddik Rav HaKolel, son of a very great chacham, Rabbi Yosef Azuelos, a big dayan. Yeah, where's Avi? He's over here. He's over here. Yeah, you'll tell us a little bit more about him another time. I read a little bit about him. Also, a grandson of Rabbi Mordechai Tzarfati, which is a great Rav. Niftar Chaf Aleph Adar. This is like the frisson we have over here. There's something going on. There's some puzzle that's being put together. How Hashem said, it's not Shalom Nathaniel's time to go. It's time to go Chaf Aleph Adar. Somehow, when I spoke to Nisim, I had 6 projects that I'm working on. Nisim said, I want to do this project. Why? He didn't know. I didn't know the Yortzeit. Nobody knew. He says, I want to try to help to put together this project. Somehow, Rabbi Avram ben Musa's neshama is connected to Shalom Nathaniel. It's also the Yortzeit of the Rabbi Elimelech Miluzinsk tonight. There's somehow a kesher. There's somehow a connection of souls. And I told this to Nisim. I hope that this is a nechama to the family. This is a so desperately needed nechama to the father and the mother, to Rivka and to Nisim, and to the whole extended family on this tragedy. But somehow to see from HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying, I'm here. I didn't forget. I'm here. And somehow there's some type of logic to the madness. You know, this is really a lesson to all of us that we have to think in our own lives why we're in this world. Some of us live longer than others. Some of us don't have the merit. Unfortunately, this year I come to Toronto and I don't find some of my friends. I don't find Claude Biton here. I don't find Shalom Nathaniel here. Some of us live longer. Some of us are times to go, and we don't know. We don't know why. We don't know why we're here. But each and every one of us has to realize that we have our purpose. We have our mission. And we have to figure out what that mission is. Am I drawn to chesed? Am I drawn to visiting sick people? Am I drawn to help build a community? Am I drawn to help people learn as much Torah as they can? Everyone has what makes them tick and what they feel they're brought down in this world for. And how do you know about it? When you're passionate about something. When you have a passion about something and you feel inside you, this is what I want to do, that's your calling. And you should pursue that. And you should know that's why you're in the world for. Because we're all here for a limited time. Unfortunately, for us, Shalom Nathaniel's time was decided ahead of time. It was going to be these amount of years. And during these amount of years, he maximized them. He brought Shalom. He brought not only during his lifetime, but after he was niftar as well, he had some tremendous exalted mission to bring that as well. That is what we are really commemorating tonight. We're commemorating that somehow his short time, too short time in this world came and had its purpose, and we have to learn from that legacy and implement it in our life, how we could maximize our time. I wanted to just thank all of those that participated in this particular project. Nisim was really orchestrated it. We want to thank Nisim's friends, Dr. Friedman, Avi Shomer, Aaron Aronson, the family, Danny and Amy Biton, Joe and Jack Biton, and their wives Ruth and Lily. I want to thank the Ben Kissus family. Robert Ben Mergi's always been supportive from the beginning. Adam Kaplan, those of you who know, those are the ones who participated in this particular project. And we want to thank them for making this Sefer happen. And Be'ezat Hashem, when the Sefer comes in, the Kolim, the Yeshivot, and the world of Torah is going to benefit. And every time they benefit, that's going to be a zechut le'il nishmat Shalom Nathaniel ben Nisim v'Rivka. Amen.